All right. Welcome again, everyone. This is our second webinar. Today, we're going to talk about the coding classes your students would enjoy. We have a special guest today, all the way in Malaysia, Dr. Siti Yusof. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
She would be talking about the collaboration with Kodarit and why she chose to collaborate with Kodarit to bring coding classes to Malaysia. And after that, I will briefly share my own experience with the education system in Indonesia compared to in Finland. And last but definitely not least, our CEO, Suvi Suryalainen, will tell you more about Kodarit and how Kodarit has been operating in Finland and how our future licensees can benefit for these collaborations. All right, without further ado, I will give the time to Dr. Siti Yusof to present her presentation.
Right. Thank you very much, Yoga. I'll share with you some slides that I prepared. Wow. Wait, hold on a second. I thought I've already opened this presentation material and all right, good. Can you see it? Can you all see it, Suvi? No? You can't see it?
No.
Yoga?
Not
you
yet?
Can't.
Yes.
Can you see Yoga?
No.
No, oh dear. Hold on a second. Still can't see?
Yes, it's okay. Now we can
It's
see.
okay now. All right, good. All right, you can see now, yeah?
Yes.
Just a minute, yeah? Okay, sorry about that. Very nice to meet with all of you today. It's a pleasure to be able to present in today's webinar. Well, I believe although we do not have many guests with us right now, I believe with the recordings, they will be able to see and benefit from our discussions today. I would like to just share with you our experience working with Kodarit Finland, basically why we want to work with them. We are the sole Malaysian partner for Kodarit Coding, and very proud to say that. And at this point, we have been in contact with Kodarit Finland the less than a year, about 10 months, I believe, 8 months, and we are trying to set up a very solid foundation to be able to market this program. And we're very pleased to say that despite a little bit of hitches here and there, we are actually able to achieve our targets hopefully by early next year, and we do have master trainers in the midst of being trained by Kodarit Finland, and I must say that they had a good time, and also it is something interesting and new for our master trainers, who are mainly those with technical background from IT, either IT or engineering backgrounds. So I believe with all these qualified master trainers, we would be looking forward to a lot of people, a lot of the students and parents joining our sessions because of the quality programs. Right. Why do we choose Kodarit courses? Obviously, because well, I've scanned through several service providers. Local, some are local and some are overseas, but nevertheless, I feel that Kodarit has a very high standing, a high rating, and meets the international standards. Which I'm looking for. In Malaysia, we have a few service providers, and they're from, some of them are local, some of them are from other parts of the world, and a lot from India. But they have their own students to cater for. But for me, when I look at Kodarit, I say, okay, this is something what we'll be looking for. This is something that we like to market and promote in Malaysia to benefit the students here. Right. Number one, of course, knowing Suvi's background and certainly, I mean, basically, she's got a very strong, what do you call, um, uh, experience, having worked with Microsoft and have got the right experience, and certainly she being the founder. I mean, that's a very good way to start this kind of business, so to say. And and with people like Anna and who is actually a pedagogy specialist, and a few others, and that's a very good combination. And certainly Laura, she's very experienced in terms of international relations, and I've actually met her in her previous company, and so I get to know what's happening because I'm on the CC list. But nevertheless, it is very, we are very pleased to be able to join Kodarit Finland and to promote the courses because of the very sound technical background. And with the state, I mean, with this experience and people, professionals who are actually in the group, we can guarantee a very sound, a state-of-art technical platform, continuously being reviewed and developed to meet the current requirements, the current trends requirements. And also, and this is important for online virtual classrooms because a very sound technical platform would not disrupt classes. And that's very important insofar as online virtual learning is concerned. And this is something that they are very good at. And certainly the pedagogy aspect, Anna and the rest of the team. I've known Anna last few months, and I think she's very committed in her work in terms of, she's very passionate about pedagogy. And certainly one of the, basically what Anna is doing, she's presenting us the Finnish pedagogy model. And we all know, the rest of the world know, that we are aware that Finnish pedagogy model is one of the best in the world. And sometimes in 2018, it was, according to the World Economic Forum, it was rated the highest in the world in terms of pedagogy, approach ratings. This year, it is one of the three highest ratings. Yeah, it's got there are two others as one of the three highest ratings, and certainly what they have to offer is the plain fun learning experience, because in Malaysia, and I believe in a lot of countries in Asia too, including Japan and Korea, the way children are being taught, they're very structured, very rigid. It's all like teacher tells you all, and students are not supposed to question, and which is not really, which is anti-theory as far as we're concerned in terms of the teaching and learning aspect. So certainly we would like to experience the a Finnish way of teaching and learning, and to make students enjoy and have fun in the sessions, because it can sound very highly technical with coding. Basically we're talking about digital education or digital literacy. It can be very what shall I say, boring to some extent because it's of the technical aspect, but it's the way it has been presented. Children learn from a different way, and look at things from different perspective and in a fun way. And that's very important in Malaysia. And this is something new and a new culture, although our universities, our schools are trying their best to introduce that, but they're still in the process of developing pedagogy approaches. But we've already got it from Finland, from Kodarit, and well, we're going to show it to the masters, to the potential students. Certainly teaching, I think the teaching is very specialized. The program, of course, is taught by very trained, highly experienced specialists. And our master trainers actually are benefiting from it. They are actually almost finishing their master training course right now. And they are, although they are a bit surprised at the beginning in terms of the way, the approach of teaching is being carried out, but after a while they say, oh, okay, that's interesting, and then they find out they actually look at the benefits of it and then trying to adopt it in their future classes. Certainly the tools and methodologies are very well written, well developed, very well structured, and very handy as a as a guide to our trainers. So this is what this is something that we want to offer to the Malaysian public, especially the Malaysian students, and certainly we want to market this new approach to parents, so that they know what we have, what to offer, and we are unique and one of the best. We've got one of the best programs, which is internationally rated, so to say, based on international standards. So it is very important as in everywhere in the world, not just in Malaysia. It's very important that children should learn coding. And of course, Kodarit has already developed programs as young as kindergarten age, which is very good indeed. For the slightly older children in primary schools, coding is very important to help to improve STEM performance, or the learning STEM subjects, because of the way it's structured, because it actually opens up the minds of students, and because students have to apply logic and analyze the process as they go through the learning aspects, and certainly they become creative in terms of trying to get the projects carried out. And I think the process of teaching and coding using the Kodarit's approach basically has opened up the children's minds. And certainly in due time, they will improve their STEM performance, which is basically generally in Malaysia is quite lacking. Yeah, quite lacking for some students, for most of the students. Now, this also, children should learn coding because it fosters high order thinking skills to improve overall academic performance. So generally, children will improve overall in the academic performance because of the way of how they understand, how they perceive knowledge, so to say. Yeah, because coding is knowledge. And because of the way it is structured, it is being presented, it is being learned, generally, overall, it helps to elevate their mindsets and the thought process, and that would be fundamental to overall to academic performance, really. And it would be not surprising to see that students who do coding would also perform well in their other subjects in the general performance. Now, well, certainly coding equips students with the digital skills to prepare for tertiary education. Now, in this digital world, if students do not have coding skills to start off with, they would be lost. They are not able to catch up with what's happening in this world, in the classroom, beyond the classroom, within the business environment, the nation at the national level, international level, of course. So we want to prepare, and coding is very important to prepare students with the fundamentals, I would say, and with the core skills, which is the digital skills, to prepare them for tertiary education, because I have a lot of feedback from HR managers, HR directors about graduates, although they are qualified, they have a first class degree in computer science, IT, subjects. So now they are somehow, when they get into the organizations, they're a bit lost because they're not used to the the equipment, the machinery, to the environment, which is basically digitalized. Industries have been digitalized, obviously, to compete with the digital world. Now, and they are they're not very happy with the level of students, the graduates that they get, new recruits really. So they have to spend a lot of money to train not only new graduates or new recruits, but also the adult workers, because they're lacking into digital knowledge, and therefore they're a bit slow in terms of trying to get acquainted with the new machinery and new work processes and so on. So basically, we're talking about, at the end of the day, we want to prepare students for the digital workforce. Now, we are talking about now this is the fourth industrial revolution era, going to the fifth industrial revolution. We are at the dawn of the fourth industrial revolution, and basically we're talking about industries, businesses. They are basically very high tech, very advanced. They are using advanced technical equipment, right? Processes and so on. And that would basically, they talk about what do you call autonomous robots. They talk about simulations, horizontal and vertical systems integration, industrial Internet of Things, and augmented reality, and so on and so forth, using the cloud, cybersecurity, big data analytics. Now imagine if the people in the industry, I mean, in a particular organization, if they're not prepared, they are lacking in terms of digital information, that it would really pull the factory down in terms of productivity. So this is where it's very critical and it's very urgent. It is really urgent for children and students to start to prepare and to be able to integrate in this digital world, in order to get into industries, to be able to employ. So we are talking about workforce transformation, really, right? From the little kiddies to the graduates and to the working workforce. There is, you can see as it goes up, we are talking about transformation. Industries, because of the disruptions, they have no choice but to transform and digitalize the processes, the equipments, the business, and therefore the workforce is basically a different kind of workforce they're expecting compared to what it was even 3 years ago, perhaps 2 years ago. So basically, we are talking about the drivers of change in industries in terms of workforce transformation are the technological advances. Yeah, the high-speed mobile internet, artificial intelligence, big data analytics, and cloud technology. Now, there is this trend in robotization. Mind you, even in restaurants, we have these robots actually serving us, sending food to us, and singing on the way, and never tired. And they work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So that's very interesting. That's in restaurant, but we're talking about in industries, in manufacturing sector, in corporations. There are a lot of robots being employed actually to help with the processes, work processes, and to help to increase productivity. Now, roles have changed now. What it used to be is not. I mean, most of the jobs, I would say 60% of the jobs have already been redesigned to meet with the new roles, and these most of the jobs have got to do with experiences, in terms of data analyst and scientists, software applications developers, and you can see these more employed in organizations than they were before. Before there was a lot of general management, marketing, employees, but not much anymore. because these are all being done by, taken over by robots and artificial intelligence and so on. So there is a growing skills stability in the business, in organizations, industries, and because of the new technology and the disrupted business model. So nothing can be more serious than getting the children to be trained for coding right now, right? And then it doesn't matter whether they are right 10 years old or 12 years old or even 14 or 16. It's not too late. Get the children to get into coding lessons so that from there they can move on to other computation programs. And this is where Kodarit has the expertise. And this is why it's so important to tell to the masses, to the world, actually, that come on, get your kids to join and learn coding for heaven's sake. And of course, for the adults, it's about digitalization, about digital courses that are being carried out at that level. And universities also are also trying to review their the programs that they are offering to undergraduates, and they're bucking up, and they're trying to put in digital literacy as not an elective subject, but as a core subject. And this is what our recommendation is. Okay, now with Yoga, the video, if you can, play it right now.
Yes.
We have a video to share. It's about the concepts of coding, how we see coding. We actually develop it specially for these kind of occasions. Thanks, Yoga.
Thank you. All right. So thanks again, Dr. Siri, for the presentation. An interesting video. I hope everyone enjoyed the presentation and the video as well. So moving forward, I will be sharing my experience with in terms of education in Indonesia compared to the one in Finland. All right. My name is Yoga Samadhi. I'm originally from Bali, Indonesia. So I would like to share a little bit of my background. I received early education in Indonesia. After that, after I graduated from high school, I went to Amsterdam, the Netherlands, to continue my study to higher education. And at the end, I ended up in Finland, where I had the chance to also try a few classes in here and then experience firsthand how the education is conducted in Finland. And before I continue, what I'm about to tell you is my own experience, and it's not represent the whole thing of what Indonesian education is about, but I'm telling you more about my own experience and observation on the education from students' point of view. So, education in Finland compared to Indonesia, I would say there are 6 points that I would like to share with you today, which is the first one is the enrollment to schools. In Indonesia, nowadays, even to go to elementary schools, if you're aiming for your children to go to a good school in Indonesia, even then you might need to attend some tests and exams to see whether the school deem your child or yourself fit to the level of their own school. That is completely contradictory with the Finnish approach in here, where most of the, I would say all of the schools here, they have the same standard, the same high quality standards, whereas in Indonesia, the schools, they sometimes they don't have the same quality. It really depends on which city that you are in, and based on that and how much those the government invests in those schools, that would most of the time determine whether the quality of the school and education that the school is providing is actually good quality or less so. So that is something that first struck me when I arrived in Finland and learned about the Finnish education, is that they don't have these exams to determine whether you can get to a certain elementary school or even a middle school. So that's one of the things that I think in Finland they've got it right by standardizing the level of the schools that the children are attending to, which is very important. It doesn't create discriminations, and it gives everyone the equal opportunity to pursue a high quality education. Secondly, about the teachers and students ratio. In Finland, they enjoy these small classrooms with very limited amount of students, where the teachers will be able to give full attention to all of the students in his or her class. While in Indonesia, based on my experience, the smallest class I've had was with around 25 students, and the higher grades I go, I think in high school we had about 40 something, 42 or 44 students in one classroom, which make it very hard for the teachers to be able to really give attention to all of the students and really make sure that the students are learning according to what their goals is. So that's something that for me, that Finland also got it better than Indonesia. Maybe part of the reason would be the amount of students that pursue the education compared to the amount of students who's pursuing education, and the amount of teachers that are available in Indonesia. Maybe that's also one of the reasons why we have such a massive amount of students in one classroom in Indonesia compared to Finland. But yeah, based on my experience and observation, students usually will learn better when they have a good amount of attention from the teachers during the classes. Like in Indonesia, I tend to kind of skip out when there's some certain teachers who can't handle this big classroom, and he or she was just writing on the whiteboard and not really giving some attention to the students, because I can understand it can be intimidating as well to be in front of 40 people like every day, and then not all of the students seems like care or seems like paying attention. That probably also make it more challenging for the teachers to be more engaging in the classroom in Indonesia compared to the one in Finland, where I can see that the students and teachers have a very engaging conversations during the classroom, up to the point where they're literally having a discussion as I would say as peers sometimes, because sometimes the students are engaged, are encouraged to ask questions, and the teacher will have the time to answer all of those questions that comes from the students, because the amount of students in the classroom is not that big. And my third point about this comparison would be the homework. In Indonesia, homework used to be one of the nightmares of the students, because we have way too many homeworks. Each of them classes that we take, we have tons of homeworks, and by doing that, we barely have time to do anything else but just to do homeworks and then school. So we have for example, in one day, if we have like 4 to 3 majors that we study during that day, and each of those majors will have like a few pages of homeworks that we need to do, and that will take the rest of our day. And as a kid, that sometimes I feel that it robbed me from my time to play, to just be kids. Whereas in Finland, I can see that they are close to no homework in here. Sometimes they got homeworks, but the amount of homeworks is very small. And because in here, I think the approach is more like during the early childhood education, they would like to let the kids be kids and play. And also with the approach of Kodarit in teaching coding to the students, I can see that the approach more like not to stress out the students who've been having a long day at school, but more to invoke their curiosity, so they would like to learn more by playing. So in Indonesia, it's highly competitive, and it's really grades driven. So these homeworks will be used later on to get your final grades. So every 3 to 4 months, you will get graded based on your performance on exams, not really based on your understanding of the topics. So that is something that's also, for me, I think that it would fit and appeal to students better if there's not that much homework, but focus more on understanding instead of just like showing them lots of homeworks just to get graded. And the next point would be the school day duration. In Indonesia, we used to go to school as early as 7, the class will start at 7 a.m. and it could last as long as 3 a.m. depending on the grades of school that you are in. And for me, that is extremely long, both for the teachers and also for the students. And this, I'm not sure how it has changed nowadays. Um, there are some changes in Indonesia that they are cutting the school days from 6 days a week to 5 days a week now, but they extended the hours of the day. Whereas in Finland, the school days are uh, relatively short compared to the ones that we have in Indonesia. And also they have like enough breaks between classes so the students can still play. So students can relax and give their mind a break after they absorbing all of this information that they learn during the class. Whereas in Indonesia, we have short breaks, and that tends to make the students burn out during the day already. So by doing that, in the middle of the school day, most students would be already like, I cannot like put more information in my head because it's already too long and a lot of information that we need to digest and not enough breaks in between. So based on that experience of mine, I think it would be much better if we put the students and give a lot of information to the students to give enough breaks for them so their brain can also take some rest and then clear up for the next subject that they need to learn. And the next one is collaboration versus competition. During my school years in Indonesia, in Bali, students are very highly competitive. I think it's mainly because it's not cheap to get a proper education in there. And in order for us to be able to get the highest quality of education available, we need to go to those schools that can provide them. And the only way to get there is if you perform well during exam. And that has been happening since entering elementary school, middle school, up to high school. Whereas in Finland, I think the classroom, they value more collaboration between students. Whereas in Indonesia, between students, you need to compete. You don't want to really work together with your classmates because you would like to get the highest score so that you can stand out in the crowd, because there are so many students who would like to get and continue to the next highest education available. Whereas in Finland, because of the equal quality of the school, during the classrooms and during the education years, they value more collaborations between their classmates, so that they can study together, they can understand things better, so they work together towards a solution of some problems that they've presented at school, at the class. So that's quite different than the approach that we have in Indonesia, whereas each student is for themselves, and there are, of course, there are some people who would work together, but not in the positive way. So it's more like work together just for the exams, just to get the good grades. Whereas in here, they don't have that. They value more that you need to understand. It's not just about the grades, but it's more about whether you can absorb this information and understand it for yourself or not. Which I think that would, in fact, and in the long run, that would be much more beneficial for the students as well. And lastly, it's the curriculums. In Finland, as my understanding and observation, as long as they're still within the national curriculums, the teachers have the power to kind of adjust the curriculums, what they're how they would like to do it in their classrooms, in their schools. Whereas in Indonesia, the curriculums are set by the government. And the school or the teacher has no say in that. And what's worse is that sometimes the curriculum changes every 3 to 5 years. So in the middle of elementary school, for example, they can change the curriculum, which confuses the students and the teachers. And it kind of give an effect that none of the students or the teachers knows, like, so what are the goals of these curriculums? Because I understand that as the country is developing and we are trying to develop our educational system as well, so we need to change. But this rapid change of curriculums and the way that the government imposed the curriculums to the schools that the teachers has very little to say about, it's very not efficient. And at the end of the day, it's the teachers and the students who are actually engaged in these curriculums. I think it needs to be a room where, like in Finland, the teachers can modify the curriculums a little bit to fit the class and the school, as long as it's still within the national curriculums that it's hardly ever changing here. So yeah, based on this 5 points of my observation and experience, I think in terms of learning something like coding, in the beginning when I heard like teaching codings for children, the first thing that pops up in my head, because I spent my early childhood in Indonesia, I was like, oh, it's gonna be burnout, because students already have like long hours at school, and like the way we've got all the homeworks, it's gonna be hard to add another subject to study. But then after I observed a couple of classes in here and how Kodarit has using the Finnish pedagogy to teach their students, it actually makes it fun for students. So it's not like someone lecturing you about how to do stuff, but more the engagement rates during the session is very high, whereas the students and the teachers, they're discussing all the time, and the students are not afraid to ask, and sometimes the teachers are not afraid if the students might know something better. So that kind of relationship relax the threshold of stress, and by doing that, coding has becoming a hobby, which is, from my own experience, I will never forget my hobbies, but I have forgotten all of these subjects that I had to learn just to pass exams, because I could just learn like a certain subject for a day or two and then just perform very well during the exams. But after the exams, all those knowledge just went somewhere else, and it's hard for me to find those information again. Whereas if I'm interested and having fun during the learning process, those information will stuck with me all the time, and it's going to be very easy for me to access those information. So that's why I think Finnish pedagogy is a really good method to use when teaching children, especially, how to code. And that's all from my side. Thank you very much for listening. And now I would like to pass the time to Suvi.
You are muted, Suvi. We can't hear you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so I will start again. So hello everyone, I'm Suvi Syrjäläinen, CEO of Kodarit, and I started this company 6-7 years ago. And before that, I worked as a software developer in high-tech companies. And reason why I started Kodarit and found Kodarit is that I think like Dr. Siti and Jouka also already said that because coding is important. And why I think that coding is important is that we use these kind of smart devices to our everyday activities, what we have used to do, for example, with paper or pen, or we have used our legs and walked somewhere. For example, when I was a child and I needed to navigate somewhere, I needed to use those huge paper maps, but now I have a Google Maps. Or if I needed to make a reservation to some restaurant, or I needed to get a hairdress appointment, I needed to call to that place and interrupt someone. But now I have useful apps in my smart devices. And if we want to influence, and if we want that everyone are able to influence that what kind of smart devices or applications we have in our everyday life, everyone needs to understand the basics of coding, because code is an intelligence of these devices. And of course, I also wanted to provide a hobby, alternative hobby for children who love to play with computers and do the things with their computers. So I started Kodarit in 2015 here in my hometown. Actually, now I'm in Helsinki, but my hometown in Tampere. And quite fast, we grown as a leading coding school in Finland. And we were expanded our offices to 6 biggest cities here in Finland. And then 2020, COVID came, and we had only on-site students in our 7 offices. So we needed to move them to online students during a 1 weekend. But that gave us an opportunity to provide our lessons also to outside of Finland, and we started to plan our internationalization strategy. Now we are living in the end of year 2022, and in this year we have had 220 coding groups to 5 to 18 years old children, and approximately 1,400 individual students. So we provide our courses to private families, but we also collaborate with municipalities. So schools and municipalities are our customers, and they provide our coding courses for free, they municipalities students. Then in summer times, we have also coding camps. So last summer, we had altogether 30 coding camps. So online, on-site and hybrid camps with 450 summer campers. Then in our international side, we have provided our courses in Indonesia and Australia, and now we have started to cooperate with Malaysia and with Dr. City also. We think that we know the best way to teach coding to children, and I explain why we think that we know that. So we have developed this kind of level course system where our youngest students, so 5 to 7 years old students, they start from baby Kodarit level, where they start to study that how to use mouse, how to use keyboard, how to draw with computer, but they also create algorithms. So they start to code even they do not maybe know that how to read or write, because we can use picture command with them. Our 8 to 14 years old, they start from level 1 with visual coding, so they don't need to write first those coding commands. So they can start to study algorithm thinking with those kind of simple drag and drop commands. And after that, when they have learned that what is the basic logic and basic idea of coding, they start to write Python code. Then after level 1, our students move to level 2, where they study Python and they start to study web programming, so HTML and CSS. Then they move to JavaScript programming, so to level 3. Then our level 4 topic is game development, where we use already those professional game engines. And after that, our all level 4 students end up to the black belt level, where we have some trendy coding project, new coding project to every semester. So our black belt students, they can continue with us as long as they want to continue with us. So we have this one straightforward, tested and with really good quality curriculum to everyone. And we used Finnish pedagogy, like our previous speakers already said, in our teaching. And we have gotten also certificate from that. So what does that mean? We do not have, for example, like Jouka explained, that if you want to get to some new schools, you need to, in Indonesia, you need to make some intake tests. We do not have those. So we take everyone who has registered to our Kodarit, baby Kodarit or Kodarit level 1. We do not have even tests where our students move from previous level to next level, because we take care of that no one is left behind. So our teachers will take care of that everyone has executed that exercise what we are doing. So if our students are participated to all level 1 course, those lessons, they have already done, they have passed all those exercises. Our teachers are always really kind and we give all the support what we are able to give to our students to execute those exercises what we have, because our exercises are not that easy. Here you can see our content. So we have selected pedagogically highest quality content to our curriculum. So here you can see some visual coding environments that are developed to children, and then some Python Python coding environments that are also developed to children. But the rest of these are environments that software professionals also used. But we have just created fun exercises that are suitable to our age group, to these environments. So there are professional game engines and web development environments, etc. And here you can see. So if you have thought that coding is this kind of boring looking black and white thing, it's not. So for example, in our classes, we have created our own map application, our own paint, some 2D games here, then some 3D games, art, and then we, for example, program devices. And it seems that our students and their parents, they love Kodarit. So we have given this kind of feedback that coding is fun, coding supports my dream, coding is great, the teacher is nice and funny. And 92 to 100% of our learners, when we have asked that official feedback, they recommend Kodarit courses to others. But our most precise feedback is that average 70% of our all students always continue to the next level. So that was what we provide now here in Finland. And now we have packaged our excellence to licensing package. So So we are not selling this licensing package here in Finland because we operate here, but we provide this to our international customers. So if you want to establish a coding school to your local area, it is possible to copy our business model and what we do here in Finland if you buy our license. So idea is that we act as a reference coding school here in Finland, and we developed our curriculum and our business model here, and then you can copy everything if you buy our license. Here is our license pricing. So if you want to start, you can start with the start package, and you can start to advertise your coding lessons in your area. So you will get your web page and social media accounts and logos and everything, and our blog post, etc. And if you select to start, for example, with Kodarit 1 level or Baby Kodarit level, if you want to provide something on to kindergartens, you can buy that license and then start to study that. So we will train your teachers, and you will give all those materials that you need to teach that level. And we have a same price for all of these reusable levels, and then black belts and summer camp programs, because you can use those only once. Those are then cheaper. And actually, yeah, I need to go back, or I can just explain. So we do not take any royalties from your first year, we want to provide a good start to your business. But after that, we will take 20% royalty fee from your courses. But then we have also royalty free license option to educational institutes. So then if you take this package, then you do not need to report us that how many students you have, etc. So you can freely use our license in your school. When you start a new business, you are always, or you at least should be, interest or your return on investment. So we are able to calculate that. So if you provide this kind of information from your area, so for example, average price per hour of class, etc., that cost of utilities, etc., we are able to calculate your return on investment. And if you are interested to cooperate with Kodarit, so if you would like to start your own coding school or buy our license to your school, or if you want to, if you are interested about, we are also providing those kind of teacher from Finland classes, you can contact me. So here in Finland, so if you want to buy something to Finland, please contact me. But if you are interested in our international offer, you can contact Jouka, Laura, or Anna also. But thank you. That was all. So I hope that now you know what Kodarit do. And now I think that we have time for questions and answers.
ได้เดี๋ยวอาจารย์นัดแจ้งเวลามาได้เลยใช่ค่ะอาจารย์นัดแจ้งเวลามาได้เลยค่ะแล้วยังไงเดี๋ยวหญิงทำซูมให้นะคะหญิงจัดสรรตามตารางอาจารย์นัดเลย
Sutanum, I need to mute you. Okay. But hey, Yoga.
Yes. Hi. So, does anybody has any questions regarding what Dr. Sidi has presented and what Suvi has presented as well? If you're interested in, or if you have some questions regarding those presentations, please feel free to ask. If you have questions later on after the webinar, don't hesitate to send us the email. So we'll try to answer all of your questions